Matthew Maher, and Matthew runs a wonderful company called STEM Creative Spaces. So Matthew, how did you have the inspiration to start STEM?
That story starts back several years, actually. I went to architecture school and, went through the ranks there and was developing my designing and learned a lot. And then when I got out of school, I just wasn't quite ready to sit behind a desk yet. And so I started working with building companies all over the West Coast and eventually found my way into Washington State. And I'd also been thinking about, the idea of modular buildings and modular cabins for quite some time. And some of those are accessory dwelling units, some of them are just full-on residences, some of them are studios, saunas, bathhouses. The underlying goal of what we're doing is trying to help people create their sustainable lifestyles. So, Garden Companion. And that product is designed to be a hybrid between a tool shed and a greenhouse, with some other bells and whistles that really are aimed at making it a really effective use of space. So that building, the greenhouse and the tool shed combined, oftentimes, depending on the time of year, you don't need the full use of either one of those spaces. You can put the two together and you can get more use out of the space. We're working on some chicken coop designs. We think that's going to be an economical way for people to start providing some of the protein for themselves. I've always been passionate about helping farmers. I think that, in our present economy, these are people that are working very hard to help sustain us all. At one point during our process, we were talking about calling ourselves a design-build farm instead of design-build firm, just to play with words, just because it's so much is going on in a farm.
I just want to ask you one more thing. If you had one or two things that you really wanted people to know about the business, about the structures, what would those be?
Well, I think one of those things, just as a business person, is that we don't get pigeonholed into only doing this. I want people to understand that this is, in essence, just another feather in our hat. We're doing this because it makes sense. We have this workshop, we have the facilities and the environments here, as well as the design technology to do all these things, so we're doing it, but we are definitely still engaging in conventional site-built projects. Yeah, I'd also like people to know that this is a big venture. We are thinking bigger than tool sheds and garden companions, and we're looking at this as basically being a seed or a pod to something greater someday. People having inspiring spaces on these islands and to live. And we are also interested in basically community development, and I mean that in a different way than I think is conventionally used. I mean in using these appropriately sized spaces as basic living units, and then we share hubs where some of the utilities of life are, and together, I think with those elements, as well as things that I haven't even thought of yet, that we can help humanity maybe find a different way of living, at least an alternative way that I think will help in our long-term sustainability.
So one last thing. I said that before. This is really
we'll
the
edit
last
that
thing. Can you describe this building out here?
Straight out here, the building that has green siding and clear trim, that is the Saunith. It's a combination sauna bathhouse. That's designed potentially to be, like a group sauna house on, say, maybe once or twice weekly used, and then a daily shower house, so that you'd come in and it would be part of a group setting where people would be using it regularly as a shower house, and then every once in a while they'd really fire it up and get the sauna going. We're pleased with that. We think it's a really good design. And then out here to the left of that, we have the Thoreauvian, named after Thoreau, and this beautiful lifestyle that he created on Walden Pond there. So basically we took a very similar floor plan to what he had, modified it to the Northwest climate, giving it overhangs, adding a metal roof. It has a shake roof, cedar shake roof, and it is just the essence of simplicity, really. And then it's got the dormer thrown on there. It really maximizes the space. on the first floor as well as up in the loft, where there's a sleeping loft, and then the bump out provides the space up top for just really being able to lounge up there. It's quite a nice space. The proportions are nice, and it's definitely showing a lot of interest. And then lastly, we have the Forest Cube, which is on the modern end of the spectrum, using corrugated siding, garage door, and it's, again, just a simple structure designed maybe to be a studio or auxiliary office structure.
So can you give us a range of what they cost, different kinds of units?
I can. Obviously, a lot of this is going to be dependent upon the finishes that people want inside, as well as the systems that there are inside, and to what extent we finish them. What I've been finding recently by running through some of my spreadsheets and all the costs associated is that we're coming in around $200 a square foot, which is very good conventionally, especially considering all that's going on in that 200 square feet. We don't have any extra wasted space to distribute these costs throughout, which when you build a large 4,000 square foot home, there's oftentimes many square feet that just aren't doing anything. So I'm pleased with that price per square foot. So basically what that means is that these things are basically, the base models are coming in around $20,000, and they're going up from there. Mm-hmm. And that's plug and play, is the way I like to say it, meaning that they come to your site finished. There's not any construction going on. Your life is not disrupted. We show up, we drop it off, and you enjoy it that night. It's a very nice idea for many people. It's kind of like driving home a new car.